pulled probes into the nuke. Maybe he's never seen nukes before. He's like a cat following the red laser. I was like, oh. Hi, Harstem. I don't even know what to say. The replay is pretty self-explanatory. Terran is freaking broken. The only solution is to switch to Terran or we're all going to be doomed. Terran has tanks, bio for ages. They can turtle on 2 bases and nuke the opponent all day. While the Protoss player is actually playing, macroing, making 110 probes, not getting supply block very much for a 2.9k, taking bases for ages, and actually microing. Even the Widowmine drop. I pulled my probes about as well as is humanly possible, but still, he kills most of them. This fool even opened up with an unscouted proxy Rex in my main, which I killed off with minimal damage, and still he wins. Harstem, please Captain, please tell me, is it really not IMBA? Do I really suck this badly? What is the meaning of this? I am going to lose my mind if I keep playing against brain-dead idiots like this. This odd imbalance complaint form was sent in to me by Requim from the North American server at platinum level 2900 MMR, asking whether Terran is imbalanced or if he sucks. Alright, boys and girls, this is definitely going to be a banger, as the... You can title the replays in StarCraft 2 as well, or you can name them. And the title of this particular replay was, I hate this game. In general, this imbalance complaint form, I felt a lot of kind of teenage angst in there. You know, it feels like Requiem, there's deep unsolved issues, at least within StarCraft 2. At least within StarCraft 2. Another reason why I think this is going to be such a sick episode is because Requiem was complaining about 2-base turtling with Ghost, which while mass nuking, 2-base turtling while mass nuking, which I am very curious to see. Like, although I guess it is technically possible, although it is technically possible that you can go for 2-base turtle into nuke, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do it. This is the equivalent of going into your boss's office, telling him that his wife smells and his kids are ugly. It's like, interesting move, but not sure how great it's going to be for your career, you know? And it is the same with 2-base turtling and Ghost, because if you're turtling, you're not on the map, you have no presence on the map. It should be really easy for the defending party against a turtling player to just defend, to not get nuked. You can just find the Ghost and kill them, because they have no support, they're by themselves, your opponent isn't being active on the map as they're turtling on 2-base. So I'm really curious how this is all gonna play out. You open up with a 17 Nexus, which is a cool build order, and is now gonna go for a second pylon proxy. I would have much preferred seeing that a little bit closer to the opponent's base, but I don't mind it. On top of that, we also have a barracks in the natural base, which is technically the main, because the main and natural is the same here, of Requiem, which went in unspotted, despite being capable of being spotted because it's in vision of the Nexus. You can see it, but I'm not gonna flame him too much for that, okay? Maybe he was stabbing out, he was changing his music on Spotify, or, you know, listening to sounds of the ocean, and the 10 hours, you know, the 10-hour-long video just ended and he had to start it over again. These things are possible. I'm not gonna flame him for that. This bunker, however, is gonna finish. You're gonna need a pylon plus battery, and then I think you want to get stalkers out as soon as you can. For now, we have no units quite yet. First adept finishes now. I think you immediately want to start a stalker. This is obviously not the correct position for your next pylon. And you know what's funny? Is that this pylon never makes any sense. I'm actually going to pause here for a second. Look at the situation we find ourselves in, okay? We're in a situation right now where our warp gate is almost done, okay? If we build a gateway right now, the moment that gateway finishes, it can warp in. We don't need new supply, okay? We don't need new supply. What we do need is a pylon over here for a battery. But this pylon does nothing. It doesn't provide a supply that we need. It does take away from minerals that we could invest into a stalker. And if you're going to build a pylon anywhere, it should be here. So this pylon is wrong in multiple ways, which is impressive because it is just a pylon. But in this case, actually quite important. I would have loved to see a pylon here plus battery, or another gate being added. What? What is he defending from? The 5 Marines? Oh, he thinks this is an all-in. He's gonna give up his natural. He's gonna defend his main base against this. Oh, he just has a completely different way of viewing this game. A wrong way, but a completely different way. Minimal damage. He lost his nexus, built a battery, stopped building workers for the past minute and a half. How is this even possible? Now he's counterattacking with an adept. This adept is idling. It's warping in another one. This battery was absolutely not necessary. And if it was necessary, it would have been over here to save this base. He's gonna rebuild it. I mean, it technically is true that he's taken less damage than he dealt to his opponent, right? He lost 400 minerals here. His opponent invested 150 minerals and built like freaking 6-7 Marines, which all died. So probably overall, this was a good trade, if you look at it directly. However, you are being outmined by your opponent because Terran has mules, so one base versus one base is always bad. What? I'm confused by the what. Very much so. I completely lost track. What was I gonna say? Oh, right. It just... And he could have just held it by building a battery over here, which he ended up doing here, losing the battery, and then rebuilding it after killing all of the Marines. Like, these are some seriously bad decisions. It probably still is fine because your Nexus is done now. You are down in tech by a lot. You just now getting your Robo and your Forge. I'm not sure about the Forge. I don't mind the Robo. I would have preferred seeing maybe a Twilight, but whatever. Like, your opponent is already done with the 1-1-1, is building his second barracks. It's now going for a mine drop. There's a bunker upstairs, which I'm pretty sure you're aware of. You've seen a factory as well. So this attack makes legitimately no sense at all. Like, legitimately no sense at all. Not sure if that's been spotted. Like, you should not be capable of getting any damage here in a million years. The only time you're going to be capable of dealing damage is if your opponent is counter-attacking you right now. Or is going for like a freaking 2 Banshee push or a double Cyclone drop. And in that case, you probably want to be home as well. Leave one adept in front of your opponent's base, send the rest of the units home. Now, here comes the mine drop, which, if I quote correctly from memory, was defended as well, or the pro pool was as good as humanly possible. I believe that's what was said. Oh, that's actually true. As good as humanly possible. Unless you count the second two, the mine number 2 and mine number 3 and 4. The second half of this attack was probably as bad as humanly possible. I feel like with that last mine, if he just A-moved with all of his workers, rather than clicking next to it and then going back home, he would have just killed it before it would have shot. If only one of those 2 shots would have hit, especially if it was just the first one out of the 2 big ones, it would have been a fine game. It actually would have been a fine game. Right now, though, you're in a situation where it sucks. You're not in a good spot. You lost a lot of workers. Your opponent still has the 2 mines alive. So this Terran is really not that bad. I'm kind of impressed by the Terran. He's doing a good job. I'm not so impressed by his build order, because now it has a tech lab on this starport that should probably be a reactor. We have a second eBay coming in as well. On 2 bases, I'm not a huge fan of that. Viking, tank, Marauder taking out this gateway, which you love to see. Requiem now realizes, hey, wait a second. Didn't he have a bunker over here and a full wall? Let me attack with about the same size army that I attacked with 3 minutes ago. Because it went terrible back then. It's probably gonna go much better now. Let's hope he built 0 units during this period and sold his bunker. Ah, dang it, a tank. Happens to the best. Let's just go back home, boys. Oh, he's just gonna check to make sure the Viking Marauder medevac isn't here anymore. Maybe looking for a proxy base? Does this player know, does Requiem know, that if you're even in bases against the Terran, you're losing? He's pretending here like his opponent is like turtling on 2 base while he's massively outmining his opponent. He's being outmined by his opponent. You can turtle if you're ahead in everything. That's not turtling, that's staying alive. Ignatavicius, what a name by the way, is literally all you need to do is just sit back, relax, and do nothing. I wouldn't really consider this turtling. This is more defending against someone that is so far behind that can probably only win by attacking. What the hell is this? What are we waiting for? Like a sign from God? Nice map vision. Look at this. He has legit no vision on the map and just positions his units here, hoping that a double drop is going to pass over. This is like buying a $500 lottery ticket when the grand prize of said lottery is $500. Like, this is just bad. There's like no scenario in which this is good. Well, I guess unless your opponent decides to load their entire army into medevacs and fly over this spot 3 times again and again. But any other regular attack or a drop into this base, which is the most common location to drop, it would just kill you. You now have a push out with 2 medevacs, 2 tanks, a raven, and a ghost. I'm curious to see how this army is going to get used. Because holy crap, I've never seen something like this. The tanks are staying home. Get a 3rd CC. We have turrets on the way. Ignatavicius is also not really turtling. Like, he just defended. Now he feels safe. What the... Oh no. He's actually gonna nuke. He doesn't even cloak! Does he have... He has 2 ghost academies. 3 ghost academies. Did you just blink down to stand next to this ghost? He doesn't even cloak the unit. I think I think he killed more of his own units here than opponent stuff. Okay, now these bad boys are getting aggravated. Wait a second, did I have an army somewhere waiting for something? Ah, right. Let's move it back. Okay, 2 more batteries on the high ground. Might be wise to fight this. Can he... Wait, why is he building adepts? You have charge, no? You have charge and blink, and we warp in as a mineral sink units that become terrible the moment stim finishes, aka the adept. I think with charge you legit clean this army. You eat it. What was that nuke? What just happened here? Why would he warp in adept? If you had them left over from the early game, I understand it, but this I don't. You don't even have glaives. If you had glaives, I would maybe understand it. Even then I wouldn't. Okay, what happened with that nuke? I want to see that again. Sorry, I missed that. Because I was paying attention to this fight. Okay, so he warps in 4 more adepts. And then walks them into the nuke. Why would he do that? What was the plan of the adepts? Is to shoot the ghost from the high ground? This guy actually just continues nuking. This Terran has the worst game plan I've seen in my entire life. Because this is not even a game plan. Well, it is a game plan. Is it? It's kind of working. I feel like not a single one of these nukes should have gotten more damage than what the nuke cost. Like, nukes are pretty expensive. They're 100. Like, this is targeting his own auto turret. Which expires. I don't really feel like the nukes are the deciding factor here in this game. Okay, now he's gonna get glaives. After he started building zealots, he's like, hey, you know what I really could use right now? Some glaives for the adepts that died earlier in the nuke. In their memory, I guess, what the hell is this one? He's putting some serious pressure here on this pylon. That could be an issue. It's actually powering a lot. Is this the main range or second? Okay, it was the main range. There's like 3 ranges of the nuke. Yeah, the middle deals 100%. Then the second ring is 50%, and the third ring is 25%, I believe. It's like the outer ring. He pulled probes into the nuke. I pulled my probes about as well as is humanly possible. This is the second time. Maybe he's never seen nukes before. He's like a cat following the red laser dot. Like, I can't touch it, guys. It's there, but it's not. It's like, yeah. This guy's a cat. A pretty stupid one. And I already don't have, you know... I don't think very highly of the intelligence of cats generally. Okay, probe transfer to this bottom base. It's gonna get that at least. Like, nothing is being nuked this entire time. This is the equivalent of burning money. And Requiem is complaining about it. Like, oh, my opponent constantly burning all his money. Hate to see it. Well, he's not even on 2 base, he's on 4 base, and he's not turtling. Unless you mean... Okay, I guess he's keeping a lot of tanks at home, though. They're all stuck behind this factory. That's so funny. That's so funny. 4 tanks. Oh, another nuke. Killed his own medevac, I think. This nuke takes out the Nexus. Probably would have been faster just to walk over there. What the hell is Requiem doing behind all of this? 2 cannons? Yeah, because static defense is really going to help against a guy whose main way of pushing into positions is by nuking it from a distance. It just makes no sense. Like, this would make sense in a normal game, but not against a guy who figured out that the ultimate way of advancing onto the map is by sending a ghost forward in a vulnerable position and then nuking a location that is meaningless. Like, what is this nuke? It just hit the freaking base. Okay, finally. This is a worldwide target, and he also cloaked. You'll love to see it. Triple starport. Coming in behind this. Once again, hits nothing. Killed his own ghost again. And the Raven also fell. Or maybe that was the Stalker. Now, here all the workers did end up dying. It's a freaking American server, man. How is this possible? How is it possible that this type of game exists? I freaking love Ignatavicius, though.
Fun fact, these tanks were actually never freed. The only reason why they could move out at one point is because the main base mined out and opened a path to go all the way around the back of the main base to finally reach freedom.
This guy's triple starporting behind this. I need air units. That's what I really need. It's like, these nukes are fun, but medevacs. He's kind of forgetting about the fact that he still has a starport here and hasn't produced in like 5 years. Fusion core and 3 Vikings and 2 more starports. You're going for a Viking battlecruiser transition. That's a classic after the Ghost, Raven, Tank, Marine, Marauder, no medevac push. Ah, man. I don't think Requiem is gonna see a single battlecruiser though. But if he would, I'm pretty sure he would complain about that as well. Hey, freaking battlecruisers. The mass nuking 2 base. It's insane. He literally hasn't scouted in years. Love this observer though, seeing everything. This is a good nuke as well. That's an assimilator and a pylon. That's 170 minerals. You're only paying 100 minerals and 100 gas for that. I guess he's gonna get the probe. I'm balling, I am faded. I don't know what that means, but I think it summarizes this very well. I have no clue at all what Requiem was doing this entire game. To be honest, I also had no clue what Ignatavicius was doing this entire game, but he won it, so I'm not going to complain. I mean, Requiem, where should we start? The terrible defense against the initial proxy marine, the constant need to needlessly move across the map and walk into the same bunker again, and again. The Widow Mine drop that you dealt as well with as humanly possible, but in reality killed a majority of your workers. Warping in adepts when you have charge available. Starting glaives when you're only building zealots. Blinking into positions you shouldn't be blinking into. Moving units, probes, anything that you can find into the nuke range. Like... I'm sorry, buddy, but your opponent played a build and a style that is god-awful, and you just managed to outdo him. You played significantly worse than your opponent, because his nukes weren't meant to hit anything. You made that happen, my dear friend. Okay? You build a city under his nukes. You moved your army into his nukes. That's what you did. That can only lead to a single conclusion then. And that, my dear friend, is that you suck. And that Terran is not imbalanced. That's just the way it is. That's going to be it for me today. If you think you have a serious imbalance complaint form, be sure to send it in using the form in the description down below. Perhaps next week you'll be taking Requiem's place. And maybe we'll find an imbalance. All right. See you then. Ciao, ciao.